Today I'm going to show you how to breathe and properly brace the core. What's going on, everybody? It's Blake Bowman here with Gorilla Zen Fitness, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you my favorite way to brace the core and breathe during exercises. And in my opinion, this is the most effective and safest way to do so. To begin, bracing the core and learning how to do this whenever you're lifting things is critical for the health of your spine as you get older. The whole idea behind bracing the core and this breathing technique that I'll show you in a few minutes here is to provide stability to the spine, meaning it's going to mitigate and stop any uncontrolled motion from occurring there. It's the uncontrolled motion of the spine when you're doing exercises, when you're picking things up, when you're doing things like deadlifts. It's that uncontrolled motion that actually typically causes injuries in the spine, like disc injuries and things like that. Now, there are a variety of different techniques, breathing techniques, bracing techniques out there. Some involve wearing a weight belt, pushing against that. Others involve holding your breath. I don't really like any of these, and I'll kind of tell you why as I'm showing you the style of bracing and breathing that I like. So what I'm about to get into here is a bracing and breathing technique that I've learned from Paul Chek, who I have a lot of certifications through. This is basically, I've tried a lot of different styles of breathing and bracing, and this is definitely the one that I've found to be most effective and safest. Here's how to perform it. I'm going to use a squat exercise to help, kind of explain how to do this, and then I'm going to show you how to brace during the squats. You'll basically brace for any exercise the same way. It's just easiest to show you with squats. Okay, so the first part of this technique that's going to help you basically build stability in your spine is breathing. Okay, so the first part is taking a deep inhalation into the stomach, okay? Your stomach should expand outwards. About 2/3 of your breath should come through there, and then the last 1/3 should go up high into your thoracic cavity, okay? So, fill up here first, and then fill up here. It'll look like this. Hang on, you can't really see that too well. Okay, what this does is it charges the thoracic cavity, meaning that it basically creates, like an air cushion for your spine to push against. Okay, it's gonna hold everything in your torso straight. If you cannot breathe into your belly, then I highly recommend you watch my video on diaphragmatic breathing exercises. I think I have several. I'll include them in the description beneath this video or in the comments area. Okay, so after you've taken that deep breath in, okay, 2/3 here, 1/3 here. The next step is going to be to pull the navel in. So you're going to kind of like pull the belly button in like you're trying to hide a beer gut. You suck the stomach in. What this does is it activates a muscle called the transversus abdominis, which also kind of helps to bring more stability to the lumbar spine, your lower back, okay? And keep in mind, you want to do this while holding your breath. You want to keep your breath held, and you also want to keep the navel pulled in during the eccentric motion. Whenever your muscles are elongating, typically when you're lowering a weight, in this case, it's when you're squatting down. You want to hold that breath in, keep that thoracic cavity charged, a lot of air is in there, and you also want to keep that belly button pulled in. Now, on the concentric phase of the movement, which is typically when you're lifting the weight up, it's when your muscles are actively shortening to produce mechanical force. On the squat, it's when you're coming up from the bottom. You want to exhale very hard through pursed lips. Okay, you really want to purse your lips. Okay, kind of make that kind of face and breathe through pursed lips like you're breathing through like a straw almost. If you blow out all of your air at once, like, okay, what you've done is all that work that you did at the beginning to take that deep breath in, you've let go of that charge in the thoracic cavity that you had. That air cushion is gone, and your spine won't be as stable. So the whole point of breathing through pursed lips is you're mitigating the amount of air that you can breathe out so you don't breathe out too fast. Now, before I actually demonstrate in real time here, I did want to make quick mention of those two other types of bracing that I talked about. One is the Valsalva maneuver, or the Valsalva technique, whatever you want to call it. That involves holding the breath throughout the entire duration of the exercise. And while this does help to create even more stability than this does, it comes at a consequence that I just think, outweighs the benefits of doing that. Holding your breath the whole time can predispose you to hernias. hemorrhoids, and even glaucoma in your eyes. There's some evidence that suggests that weightlifters are predisposed to developing glaucoma because of the intraocular pressure that they build up. They build up too much pressure behind their eyes, and holding your breath throughout the entire movement can cause that. So I don't like that style of core bracing. And another style that is really common in powerlifting is basically pushing out against a weight belt that one would have around their waist. That's terrible for a lot of different reasons. It shuts down your transversus abdominis. You almost get no transversus abdominis activation when you're pushing out like that, and that can really train your body very faulty recruitment patterns when it comes to lifting things. So should you ever have to lift something without your weight belt on, you're fucked. Okay, so now I'm going to demonstrate my breathing and bracing core technique for you guys using this barbell. Remember, there's a couple steps. First step, deep belly breath. About 2/3 of the breath comes down here, 1/3 up here. Deep breath in. Okay, then you draw the navel in and you hold that position as you lower down. Okay, and then as you come up through the concentric phase of the movement, you exhale through pursed lips. Okay, so I'll do like, let me see here, like 2 reps here. So you take the barbell off, gonna hit that breathing. Okay, usually the concentric phase will be a little bit slower, especially if you're squatting close to your, 1 RM, your 1 rep max. If you're squatting heavy, you won't come up as fast as I did, and the concentric will be a little bit accentuated. It'll be a little bit longer than that. But that's pretty much it. You would do this for any exercise, okay? You hold the breath with the navel drawn in during the eccentric phase. So let's say you're doing, bench press. As you're lowering the weight down, you're pulling the navel in, keeping the thoracic cavity charged. As you exhale, exhale through pursed lips. And it's really that simple. There you have it. That's my preferred way to brace the core during lifts. If you're lifting anything, I highly recommend you practice this technique. It'll help keep your spine nice and safe. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you have and you're not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, then go ahead and do that right over here. Also, if you haven't downloaded my ebook, Posture, the Ultimate Life Hack, then make sure you pick up a copy of that. You could do so right over here. On a concluding note, if you haven't liked my Facebook page yet, go ahead and do that. There's a link in the description down below. Also, make sure to give me a follow on Instagram. There's a link for that in the description down below as well. Other than that, I'll see you next time.